Why are these cars so popular? Why is the Range Rover Sport so popular? We're going to cover that today. We've done a lot of content on the Range Rover over the last 12 months, and to be quite frank, it's been awesomely popular, and it still seems to be a very engaging topic, so we're going to milk that cow till it's dry, I think. Let's get into it. So first, to be able to understand why the Range Rover Sport is so popular, we've got to understand why there's so many of them on the road, right? I own a second-hand one. This is a 2015 example, but someone one day bought it new. Why? Why did they buy this car brand new? Let's look at the options. And to first understand it, we've got to adjust the mindset. So I've got to adjust my mindset now to being someone of the ability to buy pretty much what they want when they want. The sort of person that only recognises a bill that of on a duck's face. The sort of person that doesn't understand what credit card debt or mortgage bills relate to. The sort of person that's able to have the best of things in life. And that's why Range Rovers are so popular. Back in 2015, when this car was new, we have to assess the competition and what the options for those sorts of people are. BMW X5, Porsche or Porsche, Cayenne, Audi Q7, Mercedes GL or whatever it was, I lose track. And in my opinion, the Range Rover does it best. And lots of people share that opinion, hence why there's so many on the road. If you don't share that opinion, good. I'm glad you don't, because the world would be a really boring place if we all shared the same opinion. Just know that if you don't, I won't be losing any sleep over it. Let's look at it closely to understand why you would have bought the Range Rover. If we compare the Q7, the Porsche, the X5 and the Mercedes, how do they look? I think the Range Rover Sport's the best looking one out of the bunch. This car in the right trim, not this trim, granted, the Range Rover Sport in the right trim is the best looking of the bunch. It looks the most prestigious, it looks the most money, it looks the best of the bunch. That's my opinion. Inside the interior, I think it is the best of the bunch again. I genuinely do think that. The German cars of that era, I think, and particularly the Mercedes at that point, I think are very bland, plasticky, very basic looking vehicles inside, definitely. That's my opinion. So if you compared them side by side in 2015, my thought was that the Range Rover would be the nicest inside, definitely. I mean, look at this, things like this, look. Cheeky little armrest, wouldn't see that on an X5. Lovely. Caliber. Features and creature comforts then. Again, I think the Land Rover at the time boasted the most creature comforts. The German stuff, as we know, you've got to pay through the nose to get a steering wheel and anything associated around what you consider an optional extra. So I think the Land Rover trumps them again in the way of standard features. For its era, I think the media screen was probably quite nice. You get heated seats, dual zone digital climate control, folding mirrors, dipping mirrors, reverse camera, digital dash, big old center console, armrests. Lovely place to be. Lots of features. I think the Range Rover boasted the most features. Drive then. So the way they drive, different, granted, but I think the Range Rover's definitely the best, purely because of how commanding a seating position it is, how you feel when you're driving one, and its ability to do more than the others. So the Porsche feels more engaging to drive than the others. It almost feels like a sports SUV, really, if that's even a thing. I know sports SUV means sports utility vehicle, but it would be a sports utility vehicle. I would imagine the Cayenne's probably the quickest round the track, but do you buy one for that? No. The X5 again is more car-like to drive. I think the Mercedes is a wallowy old bus, and the Q7 again is more car-like to drive, which is fine, but you do lack that feeling of authority that the Range Rover gives you. It feels like the boss of the group, in my opinion. And again, those people of those upper echelons in life, that's what they want. They want to feel like the man or the woman, and they want to look like the man or the woman. And the Range Rover does all of those. Let's talk about how it looks, actually, because we know from previous videos I've said this and experience with this car. I know that when people see you in this car, even one at this age, people think dickhead.
People see you in one light or another depending on the way they think and the way they see. It has nothing to do with the truth of who you really are.
They just absolutely do. Do you know what? So what? If your life's dictated by how people see you, then you need to do some personal work.
Self-confidence is your superpower. Believe in yourself, even when no one else does. Face your fears, take risks, and embrace challenges. Every step forward builds your strength. Speak with conviction, act with purpose, and trust your abilities. Confidence is built through action. Stand tall, be bold, and let your inner strength shine. You've got this. Own your greatness.
Because what I get back from the car, from being classed by everyone else as a dickhead, means more to me than anyone else's opinion, to be quite frank. I think out of all the cars, the Range Rover looks the most money. It looks like it's the superior car in terms of where you have to be in life to be able to access one. And that does mean something to that calibre of people, definitely. Because if you can afford the best, why settle for anything less? And let's just elaborate on the access point of view as well. Because the people with that sort of money that would buy this car new, if there's access to be had, they want it. That's what they've built their life around. That's what status they're at in their life now. They've got options, they've got access. This car lets you do more than the others. It's way more capable off-road, for example, we know, than the Porsche, the Mercedes, the Audi or the BMW. Definitely. The 4x4 system in this car and the terrain capabilities of this car give you way more access than the others. Do 90% of the people that buy these types of cars need it? Probably not. But do they want it because it can do it? Yeah, just in case you've got it. Some of them, don't get me wrong, probably want it anyway, because like I say, for whipping across the fields to the stables or whatever it is you got to do, or towing the horse box or anything like that, or driving down those muddy, horrible country roads, access to the farm or the grounds, this one's got better ability than the others, 100%. And again, it might just be because if it's available, I want it. Fine. But you might be asking the question, yeah, but why would someone buy a car for that much money when they depreciate so hard and they're notoriously unreliable? It's because they don't give a shit. What does depreciation mean to somebody that can shell out £100 and some £1,000 on a car? 9 times out of 10, they don't give a crap. Because they don't look at money the same way me and you do. Definitely not. I hate the idea that this car might lose £5,000 to £10,000 in the 3 years that I have it. God, I won't even pay for dinner for some of these people that buy these new. They don't give a shit. They buy it because they want it, they sell it when they don't want it no more. Simple as that. They go and get the next new thing, whatever it is. Easy as that. Reliability, again, they just don't give a shit. So finally, let's talk about what that means for us down the ladder a little bit, that are in the market to pick up one of these second-hand. Well, those are your options, aren't they? I think it's pretty much, the question's been answered based on what we've talked about. These are so popular second-hand, I think, because they give you all those senses and experiences of ownership for an absolute fraction of the money. Because if you're comparing these, let's compare apples to apples. So if you compare these to the competition now, a 2015 X5, a 2015 Mercedes, a 2015 Porsche, all those things it did better when this was new, it still does better because they're the same age. If that makes sense.
60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
The argument might be, yeah, but by this age in mileage, this has done 85,000 miles, you know, unreliability, depreciation, all the little quirks. Yeah, I'd still pick it for the same reason. I'd still pick it for the exact same reason. But I've got the sense to arm myself with a very good warranty. And that's what advice I'd pass on. You need to be far more concerned about the warranty and things at this stage in life, because, let's be frank, I've got a 15 plate Range Rover Sport because all I can afford is a 15 plate Range Rover Sport, which means I haven't got puddles of money to piss about with. So I am conscious of the expenditure relating to maintenance and breakdowns. So I've covered myself with a warranty in the hope that, touch wood, should something catastrophic happen, I'm not financially responsible for it. And I think that's all there is to say. If you share my opinion, I can only suggest you might be in full agreement with everything that I've said. If you don't share my opinion, then that's on you. I get it. That's fair. That's fair. Pick something else. Buy something else. Don't buy a Range Rover. That is also an option. But I think we've answered the question why Range Rover Sports are so popular even today. And I think I'll leave it there. So thanks so much for watching. Please do leave a like, massively helps the channel out. Hit the subscribe button. We've built up to over 1,000 subscribers now, which I'm absolutely over the moon about. Thank you so much again. I can't say it enough. Hit the subscribe button for us. It's free, takes you 2 seconds. Like, comment, just keep it clean, and I'll see you in the next video.